My name is Young Yun. Today I'm going to perform penetration test on Metaployo 2. What Metaployable 2 is a virtual machine that let people to test the vulnerabilities and doing the penetration test. So I'm going to use Kali virtual machine and Metaployable 2 to perform this. In order for me to do that, I split this penetration test into three different steps. First, conducting, trying to use Nmap to scan for any open port on targeted running service. And after scanning, I'm gonna perform scanning using Nmap scan, Nikto scan, OWASP ZAP scan, and then Nexus scans. So after trying to find vulnerability using these all scanning tools, I'm gonna actually do the penetrations, trying to see if I can get any access to it. Performing the test, I'll go through each step by step, and then I will show what the result is and then what we found from there. Why penetration test is valuable? A penetration test is critical for organization because it helps from discovering vulnerabilities in their system, so they can prevent any harms to their system. So this must be done. Handling failures. Through my experience, I think there is sometimes when the system is overwhelmed by a lot of CPU and GPU use, it tended to kind of stop. So sometimes tools start to not working. So, but I always log before I perform anything. So that's how I'm gonna handle the failure. Okay, Nmap scan. What Nmap scan can benefit is you can actually scan it, and then you can actually find out your IP and then target IP because IP is not visible. By doing that, I actually found out 169 to 54, 116, and then 106 is the Metaployable the machine. So here is it. 102 is Kali machine, and then 106 Metaspoilable. I don't know if that's how you say it, but Metaspoilable too. Okay. So after that, I could actually see there's a lot of port open. So just I'm gonna actually perform some tests on port number 22 for SSH. So this is all port has been opened. This is the port that we can actually use to do the penetration test, and then I'm going to do the penetration test in 22 TCP port SSH. Nikto scan. Nikto scan is a test for common vulnerability on any web server that may running on Metaployable 2. So after I run, there's some result, right? You can actually this command Nikto -h and then target machine. This is the result. So by reading the result, there's a number of really important findings. Result. First, it's outdated server software, and it has a lack of security headers, and Apache mode negotiation enabled, multi-views, and then HTTP trace method enabled, PHP information explorer, directory index enabled, so you can actually see the directories. 7 sensitive information disclosure, PHP queries, and phpMyAdmin vulnerabilities. This is database. Potential configuration leak. This later on, I'm gonna actually trying to configure in the server, so you can actually potentially protect vulnerabilities. And then next one was ZapScan. Um, the to start is JA proxy command to launch GenScan. You just need to ZA proxy, type that, it will launch it in Kali Linux. So through this scan, I found number of vulnerabilities, which is absent of anti-CSRF tokens. I have a definition here. You can read it through it later on. I'm going to submit these documentations. Second, content security policies, header not set, directory browsing, missing anti-clickjacking header. This is really critical. The X-frame options head is not present. Leave this site vulnerable to the clickjacking attack, which user can be tricked into the clicking hidden element. So this is really critical. Vulnerable JavaScript library. A lot of application is written in JavaScript, and then the library is very vulnerable, means you can actually manipulate the system applications. 6, cookies without HTTP only flag. This is the one of the solution that I'm going to perform later on. So it means cookie does not have HTTP only flag set, which means they could be accessed by JavaScript, potentially expose sensitive information to attack. So this is really this is some of the solution that I'm going to provide later on. Next one is Nexus scan. I really particularly like this Nexus because it actually give you more friendly layout, UI design. You can actually after you scan, you can result with critical levels, critical, mediums, and low. So very nice layout. I particularly like this. So this is you can actually see criticals. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Vulnerabilities, you can actually find a lot of good information through it. So I particularly like it. So I want to talk about 3 critical findings from Nexus. Apache Tomcat SEOL means according to version, Apache Tomcat is less or equal to 5.5. Therefore, the vendor or provider no longer maintaining it, means your Apache Tomcat is outdated. So lack of support will eventually lead to security issues. And second is Apache PHP CGI remote code execution. Description is PHP installation on remote web server contains flaws that could allow remote attacker to pass command line arguments. These are really critical issues. They can actually cause a system crash and behave the way that you are not intend to do it. Third, critical is phmyadmin prior to 4.8.6 SQL. So phmyadmin is actually the front end application where you can actually control SQL Server. SQL Server is database where a lot of applications save data record sets such as username and password and then product information, all this. So this is really critical. Part C, risk assessment and gap analysis. Risk assessment and gap analysis. So through entire scan using tools like Nmap, Nikto, OWASP, and Nexus, I found some significant problem like Metaployable 2. Example, Apache Tomcat is outdated and is not getting any more security update. That's critical. And then big problem is PHP CGI, as I mentioned before. SQL injection can be vulnerable in phmyadmin, as I mentioned before. So what would be the countermeasurement to migrate vulnerabilities? First, upgrade the software versions in Apache, Tomcat, and phmyadmins will prevent all these vulnerabilities. So that's the major. Implement anti-CSRF tokens. We need to add anti-CSRF token to prevent hackers from tricking user into the performance actions they didn't mean to. Third is content security policies on CSP heading. Fourth is disable directory browsing. Directory browsing is really easy for attacker to kind of visualize your structures, and which is going to be very hard for any organization to protect their informations, and their hackers can actually predict and then see their structures. Basically, you open the door for your house. Okay, hand it over the your house map. So that's really not ideal situations. And fifth is apply HTTP only flag to cookies. We should set HTTP only flag on cookies so hackers can access session information using script. This is one of the penetration prevent task that I'm going to perform later. So by applying this solution, I expect the system to be much more complex for a hacker to break in. When everything updated and new security setting, most known vulnerability will be closed off, and common attack like CSRP, RF, and then XLS and SQL injection will be prevented. Okay. Migration strategy explained. There's 5 main things I focused on. Update software, add the security headers, disable unnecessary features, strength access control, and cookie setting. This is the area that we need to make sure it is fully assessed and then updated. So following this plan, it will make system way stronger and more challenging to hack. Updating the software will close off many weaknesses that attackers rely on, while adding security headers and restrict access will add the extra layer of defense. So part D, I'm gonna actually this is where I'm actually going to log in as admin and then configure configuration files or update the system to prevent any vulnerabilities. Before I do that, I'm actually going to try to hack it, since it's really so as I mentioned before, through the port 22 to try to find out if I can able to find the user the admin username and password. I mean this is admin username and password for default, but just trying to hack it to retrieve this information. So usually using port 22 step is this command ms of console and type searches for logins and use options scanning as SSH SS login. Once I do that, there's options to set our host. It means this is the host of the machine that I'm trying to hack into it. And then what I did was I create a possible combination of user and password as like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually update username and password to that host through port 22, and this is the way to do it. This is the file that I save it, and then I'm actually replacing the user data and password data using this command, and then change the options to stop on success true. Means it will actually the scanning and trying to find the username and password the procedure will be stopped on if they find username and password system. So by doing that, I could be able to find username as msfadmin, password msfadmin. Okay. Now I'm gonna actually locally log into Metaployable 2, and as you can see, actually gain access to it. Okay. After I log in, vulnerability I actually mentioned before, directory browsing disabled in Apache. So there is configuration files in this etc folder, Apache 2, and the site available and the default. So actually sudo nano means you can actually edit the file. So I went into that files and then change the option index follow sym link to option dash index, which will disable directory listing, and then start the server. So this is actually going to prevent anybody performing directory listing scanning. So that is one of the fix that I did, and also apply HTTP only flag to cookies. This I mentioned that before. So in Apache configurations, and I just modify the header modules. I just added this header edit set cookies, and this command. This is actually going to prevent flag to cookies. Okay. 3. Update the server's latest software package and patches. This is any Linux-based OS. You can actually do sudo apt-get updates and then sudo apt-get and then upgrade. So that way you will update to latest patch and all the packagings of the software. So implementing analysis. Why I choose this setting? Disable directory browsing. I picked this because it was quick fix that made a big difference in security. Allowing people to browse directory could expose important files, so turning it off was a reasonable approach. Applying HTTP only flag to cookie. Adding a HTTP only flag was key to protect session cookies from being stolen by the script through the cross-site script HSL attacks. So this was necessarily done, and updating server is most critical piece of the in the cybersecurity, because without this you are vulnerable in any aspect, database, application, systems. So this is the critical part you have to do. So after this change, this stop attacker from being able to view directories, and then applying this one, the reduced chance of XSS attack by making sure cookie couldn't be accessed through the scripts. Updating server, this is really critical. XK injections, as I mentioned before. And expected versus actual result. I expect this to be stop user for being able to browse directly, and this is exactly what happens. Normal directory listing was shown. I thought this would apply the HTTP only flag. I thought this would apply to all cookies, but some cookies didn't get flagged. So this might be some more deeper assessment. Updating server, I expect all the software to be updated smoothly, but some updates didn't go through. This probably because Metaproxtrix is designed to be vulnerable, so it's not everything can be fixed with updates. So this was the result. So lesson learned from the hardening system: simple fix, work fast. Quick configuration change, like turning off directory browsing, adding security flag to cookies. The huge difference in security. To some vulnerability cannot be fixed. This Metaplix 2 is designed for the vulnerable. So I just found out some of the updates and patches is impossible to do that, get updated. So that was the little downside, but I learned a lot. And then I learned, test your changes. I learned, super important to test and check if your security changes work the way that you expect it. So you have to definitely test it. Security is never finished. It means you have to continue to doing this. Assess, monitoring it, test it, and then make sure that everything is up to the date. Well, in the end, this change made a noticeable improvement in the security of the system by addressing keys vulnerability like directory browsing and cookie securities. However, working with MetaTrax 2 also told me that not all the vulnerability can be fully patched or fixed, especially environments that are intentionally designed to be vulnerable. But it was a good exercise. This exercise showed me the importance of focusing on how quickly issue first and the one that attacks are most likely to be exploit. It also reinforced the security is ongoing process, require constant verification to ensure that changes are working as expected. That's it. Thank you for everything.